Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the flight deck. We are back in Japan at Toyama, flying down today to Nagoya. Now, remember last time we did this, we had an issue with the sim where I lost everything once we were into Nagoya. So we're going to have to redo it as we weren't able to complete the flight. But it should be good. It's been a while since I've flown the ATR, so this is going to be a nice refresh. Liam, good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Ooh, let me get the chat down. That was moved up for yesterday's long haul when we had the map up. There we go. That's better. So we're flying the ATR. Flight time's about 50 minutes, and we'll be heading across basically Japan to the Pacific coast side. And I think we should be arriving right around sunrise. We'll see what happens with that. Just a note moving forward for programming. We're going to change things up in the new year. So we're going to be trying to wrap up this stream and the Canada tour stream as quickly as possible. So you're going to see a second tour of Japan flight on Fridays. And once we finish the around the Atlantic ones on Saturdays, you're going to see a second tour of Canada on Saturdays as well. And hopefully that'll help us speed up through them and get them done. And then moving forward in the new year, the series Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are going to be the one series going. Saturdays will become our big radial Saturday, old aircraft like the DC-6 and stuff like that. And then Sundays will remain as long-haul multiplayer. So that's the plan going forward. But it's nighttime, early morning here. Sun hasn't risen. Let's hop on board the aircraft and start getting her all set up and ready to go. See if I remember this one. Alright, so we're here. That's another part of trying to limit the number of aircraft flying, so maintain proficiency. Cockpit preparations are done. Gust locks and parking brake are on. Gear lever is confirmed down. Parking brake is set. So we can pop up top here. Let's go up to the view. So we're going to come up here. We're going to turn the battery to the on position. We're good. We have external power available, so we're going to turn external power on both sides and get the dome light on for some illumination inside the aircraft. We're also going to turn the nav lights on so that everyone knows the aircraft is powered up. Alright. Flight time is approximately 50 minutes. So it's not too bad today. Alright, we can start boarding.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
And we'll request our boarding.
Boarding requested.
There we go. So with the nav lights on, we can pop back up top. We can do our warning system. So we're going to do the squib test. Squib test is good. We'll come down, do our fault test. Fault's good. And fire test. Fire test on 1 is good. Make sure we're not pulling the handle there. Squib is good. Fault and fire test is good.
Passenger's bus is coming.
Alright, so moving back down, gust lock is confirmed. Engage prop lock. We are going to be starting hotel mode this time. So what we want to do is we want to come down here on the hydraulic auxiliary pump. We're going to push this a few times, make sure this will put some hydraulic pressure in. We can come up top. You can see the gust lock says it is ready on the prop brake. So we're going to come over here. We're going to turn the prop brake to on. Prop brake is engaged, and we're going to guard it. So now we can start the number 2 engine, and the prop will not spin. Molly's good. She had a bit of a play date earlier. She's asleep behind me at the moment. We'll see how long that actually lasts. Alright, we'll get the no devices on. We'll get the seat belts on.
Passengers boarding starting.
And we will arm the emergency exit lights. And windshield anti-ice is on. And we can come down to the FMC. Is this one? So the we are on VATSIM, however there is no ATC up currently, as it is the wee hours of the morning here in Japan. Well, we are looking good. We had an aircraft take off here while I was setting up, which is pretty neat. Into the FMC, we'll come through. We look at our data. That is all okay, and into our initialization. So position initialization. We're going to grab the GPS, and that is good. Nav data we'll check. That's still all the same. That's fine. Not sure why we're not getting a more up-to-date version, but is what it is. Flight plan initialization. We'll bring in the route, and let me grab my flight plan here, and we'll enter it in. Alright, so we have our route. So we are flying from RJNT, which is Toyama. RJNT. And we're heading to RJGG, Nagoya. Sorry if I don't hit the mute before I cough. This is driving me a little bit nuts, but it's all good. So I'll execute that. That is good. As we can see, we have that entered in now. So from RJNT, we are going to be departing off of runway 20. That is the plan. Runway 20 and no departure. Departures all take us to the north. So we're not going to be doing that. We're just going to head straight out to our first waypoint. And our first waypoint is going to be KMC25. There we go, KMC25. We'll enter that in. And let me bring up the route again. From there, we are going to be going on an airway, and that is going to be the Victor 52. And we're taking that to Menu. Let's see if we'll find it. Now, next page. That's where we're joining. That's where we're going to. Menu. We'll execute that. Return. After menu, we are going direct to chess. CHESS as our next waypoint. Execute that. After chess, we'll then be doing our arrival into Nagoya, so let's put that in. We're going to be landing on the ILS Zulu for runway 36, and we're going to be going in on the Chess S arrival, and we'll execute that. So if I bring up my charts, take a look at our routing. There's Chess, Paso, Sangu, Dogun is good. Probe above 4,000 is correct. And then Wilba, probe, Wilba, and down to the runway. So that's all good. So we can go back to our flight plan. And we'll just make sure that everything is looking good. Straight up. No disconnects. And we're good all the way through. So that's good there. So back to our menu. We can go back to our initialization. We'll go to our weights and balances here. Oh, you got Smudge there too? Oh, that's great. Hope Smudge is doing well. Zero fuel weight for today's flight. Let me grab that. Is 21 even. Or sorry, That's our maximum. Our estimated 16,506. And our fuel on board today is going to be 1836. And that gives us a gross weight of 1884. Pretty good. Alright, so that's all good. There's our trim. We're set there. Reserves on today's flight are 361. 361 is set, and we're good. So weights are in. Performance initialization units we don't have to worry about. They're all good. I believe we are in kilograms and barrel HPA. That's correct. Performance initialization. Cruise altitude today is going to be 18,000 feet. Sorry about that. Climb angle is 3 degrees. Alternate is going to be Tokyo at Romeo Juliet Tango Tango. And to get there, we're going to be flying at 10,000 feet. I'll enter that in. There we go. That is all good there. So that is our performance initialization done. And we can go to our performance page, and there's our V-speeds are all set. Transition altitude. Let's see. Transition altitude here in Japan for the runway we're heading off on is it's not showing there, but it does show 14. So we'll go 14,000 for our departure as well. All right. And you can go over to our flight plan. So that's good. It looks like we got the bags coming on board now, and the peoples are all on board. Alright, so with the peoples on board, we can carry on as we are going through our list.
We're ready to go when you are.
The cabin's ready. We're just waiting on the final bags. Altimeters,
Hello,
let me grab the
ladies and
weather.
gentlemen, I would love to welcome you aboard our flight. When you find your seat, please be sure to
So they
place
had
your
rain
larger
earlier,
carry-on
but it's
items
kind of
in the
cleared up a
overhead
little bit.
bins and smaller items underneath the seat
Although we do
in front of
have
you.
some rain
Unless you're
still
in
in
front
the
row,
area.
Please place all of your items in the overhead bin. If you have any trouble finding a location,
So as you can see, winds are 160 at 4. We're going to keep on runway 20. It's variable between 100 and 210. 10,000 feet visibility. There's showers in the vicinity, few clouds with a scattered layer, a broken layer above that. 6 degrees. 1022 is the barrel, so 1022. We will set that. There we go. And we will check both sides are good, and
but we ask that once we depart from the gate, you put away any laptops or tablets. Thank you and welcome aboard.
Let's just see if I can get that 1022. There we go. That is now set in the standby as well. So altimeters are set. And we're just waiting for the final baggage to come on board.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard flight 5556. Our flight time will be roughly 44 minutes. Please note the cabin doors
closing
now
up
closed.
everything.
We ask that you make sure that all devices are in airplane mode and your larger devices are now shut down and stowed. If you have not already, please fasten
Cabin
your
doors
seatbelt.
closed. We
Verify
can get
it
the
is
chocks
low and
out
tight
as
across
well.
your lap. Your tray tables and seat backs must be in the full upright and locked position
Just
for
waiting on the
departure.
last of the
Flight
bags.
attendants, please prepare
So while we're
cabin
waiting, we'll
departure
take a quick look at
process.
our route today. Let me bring up the Navigraph. There we go. So we're up here on the Sea of Japan side. We're going to be flying out of Toyama, basically straight out down towards the first waypoint, crossing over the mountains that form the spine of it. And we're going to come down, fly on the western side of the Bay of Osaka and everything here. And we're going to come down and do a series of left turns to come in for the ILS. Landing right here on a little island off the coast where the runway is located. And the airport itself. So that is the flight plan. Again, the flight is estimated to be taking, let's see, I think air time is 44 minutes. And we're just waiting on the last of the bags. And that looks like it. There we go. They've given us a ding. Bags are done. He's going to pull that away. We can close the cargo door. Now, in order to start in hotel mode, there he goes. Get that door closed. In order to start in a hotel mode, we have to start the pushback because you cannot push back with GSX once the engines are running, and we're going to have to be running the one engine. So, we're going to start that now, and then we just won't do the actual push. So we'll prepare for our push. We're going to request the pushback, and we're going to leave the parking brake engaged until we are actually ready to go. But they're going to have to run through this process and get that all done.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Alright, so they're going to come in and do that, and we'll get ready to start. We're going to come up here and turn on the wing lights. And turning on the wing lights here will illuminate the engines, as you can see, and that's the indication that we're going to be starting up in hotel mode. And getting ready to go that way instead of doing a pushback and then starting engines up out on the ramp. Or doing a stand start and just driving out forward. Alright, we'll clear the checklists as I don't use those. We are going to go nose left, tail right. That's the direction we're going to want for our taxi. But to start, we're going to go to our Unicom. Now he's going to say this a couple times, which is fine. We'll go Unicom 122.8, and down here in our COM2 121.5, we'll switch that over. That is good. If we come down here to nav, we're going to make sure we're all good there. And then surveillance transponder code is going to be 2000. I'll enter that. And it's transponder on standby. Okay, for hotel mode, we'll just ignore him. He should go quiet in a minute. So we're going to come up top. Beacon light is coming on. Wing lights are already on. Fuel pump number 2 is going to come on. And we're going to start engine number 2. So starter will go to start AB and starting engine number 2. We have wind up. So if we pop out, we can hear her winding up, and we're going to add fuel. She's just fired off, but the prop is not spinning.
Aircraft for a safety demonstration.
Alright, so we now have hotel mode, and we're getting power from the engine. We'll go up to the overheads. We'll make sure our hydraulics are all on, although we're not getting the AC wild power, that's fine.
In the event that the seatbelt light is not on, we
blue
suggest that
and
you
green
keep your
are
seatbelt fastened
good.
in case of
Oxygen is
unexpected
now
turbulence.
on.
There are several emergency exits on this aircraft. Please
Takeoff
take a
data
few
we're going to
moments now
set. We're
locate
going
your
to
nearest exit.
climb straight
In
up
some
to
cases, your nearest
18,000
exit
feet.
may be behind you. If we need to evacuate the aircraft, floor level lighting will guide you towards the exit. In the event that the cabin loses pressure, an oxygen mask will drop right in front of you. To start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you. Place it firmly over your nose and mouth and secure the elastic band behind your head. Tighten the straps if necessary and breathe normally. Although the bag does not inflate,
There's
oxygen is flowing
18,000
to the
feet
mask.
set
If
there.
you are traveling
We're also
with a
going to
child or
set
someone who
our
requires assistance,
vertical
secure
speed.
your mask first and then assist others. Keep your mask on until a member of the crew advises you it's safe to remove it.
To 1,000 feet per minute. There we go. And that is good.
So open the plastic pouch and remove the vest.
Takeoff data we have 104, 104, and 110. The FCP is set. There's our altitude and speeds are all good. Landing elevation is set to automatic. Seatbelt signs are on. Fuel used is good. Probes and de-ice. So we're back up top. We're going to come down, make sure all our probes are on. De-ice is all on. That is good. It's a little warm in the cabin, but we'll get the temperatures sorted out shortly. Turn them down a little bit.
All of this information and more
Alright, we are all good there.
in the seat back in front of you. We suggest reading this and let us know if you
Alright,
have
so
any
power
questions.
management is set to
Thank you for
take
flying
off.
with
Flight
us, and we hope
directors
you
are
enjoy
on both sides. Radios and set trims. We want 1.1 up. There's 1.1 up on the trims. Transponder we set to 2,000. Doors are all closed. Chocks are removed. External power can now be disconnected. Again, we are up on the other engine for power for our engine start. So we are good to push back. So we're going to release the parking brake. Alright, so all engines are clear, so we can come up now. We can disconnect the prop brake. Now that may remain on because we don't have the proper hydraulics yet, so we'll give that a couple pumps. And now it should be spinning. No, not yet. That's because I have to bring it off. Unlock. There we go. And we'll lock that. There we go. Engine starting to spin up on number 2 with the blade. And we can start number 1. So pumps are on. And starting engine 1. There we go. There's 9, 10. Adding fuel. Let's start off. Blades rotating. It's now coming up. And we'll set the parking brake. We should have 2 good engines going. You can see them both turning. So we're still in flight idle, or the rear position here. FTR, I think it's called. So we're going to let them know they can unhook.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Alright, so we are disconnecting. And once they are done, we'll bring the engines up and carry on our checks.
We're ready for departure.
Cabin's ready. Once they are clear, we'll bring the engines up into auto Is it off?
トートラックディスコネクティッド。バイパス
Yeah,
ピン
auto.
マークド。レフトイズクリア、ライトイズクリア。
All right. So the engines are up and going. We should see the ground guy coming out. Oh, there he is. Off on the right side. He's got the pin in his hand. He's going to show it to us. Roger will give him a thumbs up, and then we can get out of here. There he is. Got a big wave. We are good to go. Alright, so we're going to carry on our checks. Now that they are unhooked, we're going to come down. We're going to bring both condition levers up to auto. We'll hear the engines cycle into that mode. The AMP is increasing. There's the famous sound of these engines getting into there. And if we look up top, everything is starting to look good. We got low hydraulic power. They'll come in if we give a little tap of power. There we go. See how those lights go off. That's good. And we're up there. So, flaps, we can go to takeoff. Flaps are moving. Anti-skid check. Anti-skid fault. Why did anti-skid fault? Oh, I should have hydraulic power. That's all fine. Flight controls. We can come off the gust lock. Make sure everything is good. Those engines back down. Autopilot is set. We are going vertical speed nav, and we're gonna go instead of pitch hold vertical speed, we want 1,000 feet per minute, and LNAV, that's good. So we're all good there. Everything is once again looking good up top. We can take the starter off. And that's good. So for taxi, we can go our taxi light on. Wing and logo lights. Logo lights are on. Wing lights are on. Anti-ice is all on. Engines are up and good. Engines are checked. Pitot heats are all on. And start selector mode is off. So we are good to taxi. I'm going to kill the dome light. And we're good to go. Toyama area traffic, Skyways 5556, taxi runway 20 via the apron. Tango 2, backtracking 20. Toyama. Alright, so we'll get the manual brakes on. Brakes released. And taxi light should be on. There we go. Taxi lights are on. And we can come out now. So we're going to head down to Tango 2 and we'll set up and then backtrack. See, that's the problem with this is the
Please note, the cabin lights will be dimmed for
if you
departure
bring the
and
aircraft to idle,
if you require additional lighting, there's a leading light on the
it
panel above.
is you lose the generators and the hydraulic pumps, which is kind of weird. Shouldn't be happening that way. Like if you bring it right back to idle. So you got to kind of have a little bit of power in order to keep everything up and running. So that's Tango 1. We're going to go down to Tango 2. It's a bit of a shorter backtrack, but really not by much. Traffic's clear. We don't have anyone in the area. So we'll get the brakes on. So pre-departure takeoff configuration, we'll do our test. TO config test, okay. Power management confirmed, set to takeoff. Speeds are set, altitude and speed is good. FCP and nav radios and everything are good. We're going to come to surveillance, and transponder will go on. To nav and NV. We're going traffic normal. I'm going to have weather on my side, and we're going to turn, we're going to put weather on his side. We're going to put terrain on my side. That is good. And then he will go to the comms, or the nav radios for his, and I'll go to the comms for mine. And we can set ND and ND. I'm gonna go to, there's my 10 miles, and go 20 for him, and we're gonna go in that mode. I'm gonna go to that mode. Should have a not sure why I got into that mode. Let's go back to the ND. It's 10, 20, I want 5. There we go. All right. Power engine speed for fuel quantities checked on. Shade lights are checked. So strobe lights will come on. Takeoff lights or taxi lights will go off. It says taxi and takeoff, so we'll leave that on. Transponder is set to altitude. Automatic torque is set. Clock and runways. Well, runways confirmed. Clock will set when we get to the far end. Toyama area traffic, Skyways 5556 backtracking, runway 20. Alright, let's move out. And we'll head down to the far end. Hopefully we'll see a sunrise on this flight. We're a little bit behind with me being away and stuff and having to redo this flight. We should have been a little bit further south, but we'll see how that goes. Just watching our ground speed. Should have the turning circle on our right when we get down to the end. And it looks like we're going slightly uphill here. We got a little bit of a wind today. 4 knots. It's a little bit stronger down at the other end. They've had rainstorms and everything moving through there as well, so we'll see what we end up with when we get down there. But looks like 36 will be the runway. There should be a turning circle up here on the left according to the charts. There may not be, depending on how it's been modeled in. I'm not seeing one because it would usually be illuminated properly. So we'll just do a manual turn. Oh, no, there it is. Oh, it was a little bit further than I just thought. So we'll do the turnaround and get ourselves all nicely lined up. There we are. All right. All right, we are set to go. So, brakes are set. I'm going to come down. We're going to bring the engines up into notch on the power levers. Both the engines are now in notch. I'm going to start the clock. And we are ready to go. Toyama area traffic, Skyways 5556, departing runway 20, departure to the southwest. I'll just come down here, put that to flight plan. We'll just import it so it's there. Worry about that at the moment. And brakes released. Airspeed's alive. See if we can do it without a tail strike today. It's 80 knots. $100 knots. V1. Rotate. Oh, nice and gentle. No tail strike. Positive rate. Gear up. All right. Climbing out. We're going to make a turn to the right to get away from the mountains there. Flying with the flight directors. And there's F speed, flap speed, so flaps up. Go to climb mode. And autopilot on. Yaw dampers on. Vertical speed and LNAV. So we're going to hold at 1,000 feet per minute. And when the speed gives up to 170, we will lock in at 170 for our climb out. Yaw damper is on. Annunciator lights are good. Altimeter is 14,000 feet. We'll change over to standard. And there's 165. Hit indicated airspeed as our lock at 170. 170 indicated airspeed. It says 169. We'll adjust that to 170. There we go. And we are starting to climb up and away. So we'll zoom out slightly. see the hills here we're approaching. Well, we should be well up above them. Flaps are confirmed retracted. We are in climb power. We're through 3,000 feet, so we're going to come up. We'll turn off the logo light and the taxi light and the wing lights. Landing lights are still on. I forgot to turn on the weather radar. Weather radar is on. See what we get over here, but we're looking good. It looks like terrain won't be much of an issue. Showing 5,100 feet. We're already at 44, so we should be able to get through no issues. We are tracking. There's 40 miles out. You can see the mountains there. It's kind of the high peaks we're going to be aiming for, but we should be able to clear that no problem by the time we get up. Showing weather. Alright, we are looking good. Interesting, it's not letting me import. Let's go to options. Huh. Oh, that's fine. 6,600 feet. We're not going to be up at cruise level for too long. Again, this is a shorter flight. See, we've almost got our altitude above. That's 8,500. It's showing now. Green's at 5,200, so we're coming up to cross over the peak here. Not going to be a concern. Just going to pop down to nav for a second, put the weather on here, see if it shows anything. Alright, so it's not showing anything. We seem to be clear. And everything is good. Not a fast aircraft, this. It does take a while to get up to altitude. But it's a fun one to fly. I do like it. So we're climbing up to our cruise altitude, as mentioned, 18,000 feet today. And it is going to take a little bit to get there. climbing at about 800 feet per minute, depending on winds and turbulence. See, we're kind of up and down here. And we are flying low enough we'll be affected by all the ground stuff. There's 10,000 feet, so the landing lights can come off. I'm going to dump the seatbelt signs. And we'll let everyone get up and move around in the back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now passing through 10,000 feet. You can now turn on your larger portable electronic devices. As a reminder, please keep your seatbelt fastened while you are seated and do not congregate in the galley or near the lavatory.
And again, I'm not using the onboard checklist, although you can use them. I am using a printed one from FlightSim.to, created by British AvGeek and his Osprey Airways guys. It allows me to interact with a little bit better. And 6,500 feet to go.
The flight crew has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. You can now get up and move about the cabin. However, we ask that you keep your seatbelt fastened when needed in case of unexpected turbulence.
See, the top of descent is showing. It's already coming in. Oh, looks like Molly's heard something. She's up and woofing. Fortunately, there's not much to see outside, even from in the back. There's some city lights and stuff, but not much else. We may be getting a hint of sun on the horizon. Let's pop out and take a look. Probably not going to come across, but I'm just starting to get a little faint hint of red here on the horizon. Not sure if that'll show on the stream, so we should get something as we get closer to our arrival into Nagoya. So for now, we'll stick with the cockpit view. Dude, if anyone's flying this and using Simbri for their flight planning, I find it tends to give it a little bit too high an altitude for it to get up there comfortably in the short flight times we got for these things. So I dropped it by a couple thousand feet. It usually gives me 20,000. I went with 18, just so we have a chance to get up there. Could have even done like 16. But we're all good. So we got 81 miles to go, cruising along. We should be arriving in about half an hour, maybe 25 minutes. Let's do a little check on the weather as we're climbing out. We're going to have a crosswind, 280 at 16. Some lowish cloud, but not going to be an issue. And 1022 is a barrel there, so we'll just leave it where it is. So yeah, a bit of a crosswind landing coming in today. Can make it interesting. Less than 4,000 to go. highly populated area we're going to be flying into. And we'll see how we do. Whole city basically covers around the entire bay. Well, we're 7 miles out from KMC 25, where we're going to make the turn. And we've got 2,500 feet to go on our climb. We'll have about 20 miles or so in cruise. And we'll be getting ready for our descent. Once we get up into cruise, we've got to turn our power management over to cruise mode. And then the aircraft will speed up to its cruising speed of whatever the winds and atmosphere and all that stuff give us on that day. Looking good. 14 minutes since takeoff. And there's 16,000 feet. So 2,000 feet to go. 500 feet per minute should take about 4 minutes. Climbing like a Cessna does. Yeah, probably better if I start using 16,000 feet on these flights. Don't think there's any mountain ranges that are higher than that on the Japanese islands. Alright, there's our turn, so we're going to turn down to cross the mountain range, and basically when we get to Minu, that's when we're going to be across the center point of the mountains. So it's all, oh, there you can see a little bit more light on the horizon. You can definitely see those clouds out there. Thousand to go, and then we'll be able to lock her into cruise mode. It'd be nice if this was in daytime, we could see the mountains and everything, but of course we are flying on VATSIM, so we've got to fly real time, real weather. Alright, less than 400 to go. See the marker coming in at 18,000 feet.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to the short duration of this flight, we will not be able to offer in-flight service.
There you go. Too short a flight. idea what Molly's sparking at. So there we are. We're coming up to 18,000 feet. We're at altitude hold. Speed's starting to increase. So we're going to come down here and go to our cruise power setting. See the power coming up a little bit on the engines as we're leveling out here. Speed's going to increase slightly as well. So I'm going to take 30 seconds, go see what's annoying Miss Molly, and I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. Settled her down a little bit. Cruise speed's up to 200 knots. And we can see the population center laid out here. This is the Nagoya area, the greater area. Downtown, and then the bay over here. We'll be landing down here on the bay. And then, let's see if I go here for, we're turning, but just make out redness on the horizon. See it over there. So it looks like the sun's going to be rising just as we get there. There's our top of descent coming up. So we've got the course set all the way around, and we're not going to be expecting any vectors. So the platform altitude we're going to be shooting for is going to be 3,400 feet. And if we come down to our flight plan, this one, we can see we've got 3,400 at probe. So it's got an altitude constraint of above, and we go back to here. Wilba is the intercept. We have to be at 3,500, it says, across at 3,500. We're going to make that 3,400. There we go, 3,400. That'll ensure that we're right down under the glide as we come in. But just as our entry point into the approach, we can come down here and zoom in a little bit. So after chest, we'll start getting our approach brief. So let's go to our weather for now. get the most up to date. I don't think this is going to change. No, by the time we get down, there'll be no change. So, put it in. Barrel you can see is 1022, which we're already set. 11 degrees. Winds are going to be 280 at 16, so we're going to have about a 15 knot crosswind, which is going to be pretty high. Hopefully that's not that bad. A bit of scattered clouds, 4700, overcast at about 40. What did it say? Overcast at 4800 and 11 degrees. Auto broadcast, and it was from half an hour ago. And the trend on the winds it's been getting stronger actually. So who knows what it'll be? Probably will be that. So we'll just have to deal with it. Arrival data. Let's come down here. We're going to set up our nav. We're going to go for our ILS frequency. So it's going to be 111.9. 111. Let's go on 111.9. We'll enter and switch that over. So that's the ILS frequency is in. And we're going to go down here on number 2 and 117.8, and we'll enter that on number 2, and that is now in as well. And we can turn both of those on. They are both now indicating that's the ILS, that's the other VOR, which is over that way. So that is good. So the ILS frequencies are in. We're going to want to set the runway heading of 357. And in order to do that, we're going to come up here. We're going to quickly go to heading mode. We're going to go here to 2 so we get the blue. And we're going to turn and set that to 357 on our course. Alright, let's go this way. 357 is set, so we can come back to the FMC and go back into nav mode. There we go. And so we're now set on our course for when we switch over to the ILS. That is all good. Heading to test now and make that turn in towards Paso. So we're set there. That is our arrival data. Automatic torque, we're not going to worry about. We'll be leaving that in place. Radios are set. NT is good. FCP is set. We're done. Landing elevation is automatic. Minimums for this on the Cat 1 is 215 feet. So we're going to be MDA, and that is set on both sides. Then we'll set 215. Or we can't do that, so we'll go 220. Always go above, not below. Minimums are set. Missed approach. Basically going to 500 feet on 357. Left turn to 166. Intercept the outbound 211 VOR. Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but I think we're going to make it in. Should be the good there. Alright, so we are looking good. I'm going to turn our heading indicator, since we're not using it at the moment, to 357 as well. Just in case we do have to do that missed approach. It will be preset. 357 is set. And we come in now and put 3,400 feet in our altitude select. So we're ready for our descent. .3,400 feet is set. That's our intercept on the Unless you can see the cloud cover. Alright, we're about 7 miles from top of descent. Now it is manual throttle, so as soon as we start the descent, we're going to have to pull back on the throttles to make sure we don't overspeed. We're going to hold that speed up around the 200 mark or so as we come down. We don't have any speed restrictions, so we're just going to have to go by altitude. 250 at 10,000 feet, we're going to be below that, but we want to be flaps 1 we can drop at 185, flaps full we can drop at 150. So just to bear that in mind, we probably want to be around that 185 down about Dugan, and then as we come around the corner, we'll start slowing her down towards our approach speed. Our approach speed is usually about 103, 104. We do 110, and just fly her down to the ground at that point. And let's see if we can do her without doing a tail strike. So you can see 101. We'll go 110. Go around 114. That's fine. 11,400 foot runway. We only need 2,200 feet. I'll leave the performance numbers up. That's good. There's VNAV. Heading down to VNAV path. I was a little late. Pulled the power back. To idle. So 10,000 feet will be seat belts and lights. We want to keep about 190 or so on the descent. Between 190 and 200 is pretty good. You see the loop there, out over the water and around. And we come back in. Actually, you can see it on the other side here. Looking good. So we're 16 miles from the airport, directly off to our, it's at 10 o'clock. Off over here. Definitely got a lot of cloud cover down here this morning. The sun's starting to come up. Of course, days are getting shorter still in the northern hemisphere, so hopefully as we keep flying south, we'll run into some nice sunrises again. We did have a couple nice ones in the first couple legs of this tour. Who that is. Nagoya area traffic, skyways 5556 descending through flight level 140 on the Chess Sierra arrival into Nagoya Chubu on the for the ILS runway 36 right, or 36. There's no 36 right. We're going to traffic below, just in case. Not expecting anyone out there. 206 knots. We'll just make sure she's in idle. Again, there's that drastic change between idle and a slight bit of power. A little too much, but that's fine. We just don't want to get below 185 at the moment until after we make that turn. We're on the path to that 6,000 foot restriction. And that is here at Sangu, that's 6,000 or above. Then we've got 4,000 or above at Probe. But we're trying to get down to the 3,400 at Wilby. Speed's getting a bit low. Bring that up. And it is the Nagoya Chubu. So there's our turn. Speed's back up to 190, that's fine. A little all over the place in this power settings, but not much we can do about it. It's hard to maintain. Alright, as we come wings level, landing lights on, the wing lights and logo lights are on, seatbelt signs are on, we should be all good in the back.
The flight crew has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. Please return to your seat and fasten your seatbelt.
Alright, that's us through 10,000 feet.
We have begun our final descent into your destination. Flight attendants will be passing through the cabin to collect any
Alright,
trash
so
or
we're
final
below
parts.
185. We're going to go
Please
first notch
notice
of
you're in the
flaps.
full upright position. Please also store any carry-on items either in the seat back pocket or under the seat in front of you.
Speed start coming back. We want to be about 160-ish. It's still pretty dark out and cloud covered. There's the hold at Probe, which we are not going to use. Speed is good. Alright, bring this down into that mode. So ILS, VOR, NDB frequencies are tuned in. Power management, we will set to take off in a second. Flaps, we're starting to extend. Approach mode we will do when we come around the corner at Probe. And we should be good. And maintain that about 160 or so. Between 160 and 170. And we're going to try to fly her down to the ground and not tail strike. Don't want to over rotate. cloud lights in the clouds there. So it's pulling up the ILS there, 15 miles out. There's the turn for probe. Keeping it on that speed, 160. Probably be aiming for that 170 tag there. Let's do 6,000 feet. There's the airport. Can just make out the runway through the clouds, although we're losing it there as the clouds thicken. There's the turn. As we roll wings level. Approach mode and localizer glide slope. Set our go around altitude for 4,000 feet. Speed coming back. 13 miles out. Nagoya Chubu area traffic, Skyways 5556 established ILS, runway 36, Nagoya Chubu. $150. Let's hold there for a little bit. Eight miles, we'll drop the gear, start slowing us down. I don't need a lot of room to do it. Keep that speed around 160. It's a 44-minute flight time. We're at 42 minutes, and we're about 10 miles out, so not too shabby there. Nine and a half miles. See the city lined up. The winds are probably going to veer off to the left, which means we're going to get that crosswind. Hopefully they reduce a bit more. And they're not as strong, but it's over the water. I don't see it not being a little bit too much. And we're going to be parking at probably parking spot 4 or 5 on the D apron. Alright, there's 7.5 miles, so gear down. Gear down 3 green, lights are on, cabin is notified. Let's get the last stage of flaps as we reduce our speed. $1,700 feet. It's 5 miles. Below 150, so full flaps. Speed coming back. Winds drop to 11, a little bit more to the left. You can see we're starting out to crab. Speed down to 120. 114. We want to hold it about 110. Speed down to 10 knots, 310 degrees. $1,100 feet. 9, yeah, wind's gonna drop slightly. Still gonna be a little bit of a push from the left. 110, 1,000 to go. Sun's starting to rise as we come in. Two and a half miles. And no auto brakes, we just have manual braking and reversers. Alright, power management set to take off, or set to take off. $500 to go. My aircraft.
Approaching minimum. $200. Minimum.
Continue.
Minimum. $100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Get that nose down, get the wings down. There we go. Oh, that took us all over the place, didn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination. The
Not
local
pretty.
time is 5:55 a.m.
Something I gotta
and
work
it's
on,
currently
definitely.
about 11 degrees Celsius. can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the
We're gonna get off at
seatbelt
Alpha
sign is
6.
off. Remember to use caution when opening the overhead bins as items may have shifted during the flight. We thank you for flying with us and we hope to see you again soon.
Alright, touchdown at 47 minutes, 3 minutes later than estimated arrival. That's fine. So we're going to come off here. We're going to taxi in. We're going to do a 2-engine taxi. As I've said before, I find that if I shut down the 1 engine like you're supposed to, it becomes hard to steer due to the asymmetrical thrust. I think it's a little bit more severe than in real life. That's fine. So we're going to roll off here. Why am I... This is so dark. I got my lights on. It's yeah, I got the lights on. I don't know. Maybe that's why it says to put that light on. Yeah, I'll blame that for my poor landing. Alright, let's get the flaps up. Taxi in now. Weather radar, go to standby. Nagoya Chubu area traffic, Skyways 5556 clear 36 at Alpha 6, taxiing apron D via Alpha 6 Bravo 6 Delta 6. It's out of here. Actually, we want surveillance, transponder to standby. Comms, there we go. So we're going to be going over here. Let's see if we can get gate parking. No, we want no, we want to go straight ahead here. I guess gate 5 heavy. No, oh, not that. We'll just go straight in this way. I know where we're going. We're just going forward here. Wherever this is. From the control tower here, we'll just take one of these. Alright, get our landing lights off, our strobes off. Funny how landing lights came on later when I turned on the other thing. I don't know what's going on. It's confusing me. We'll go into spot 6 here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Slow, slow, slow. Oh. That's the problem. You go into hard idle and you lose the brakes, as I mentioned. Alright, let's do this. And I figure out why my lights went out. It's because of the power settings. So I'm gonna see if I can recalibrate those so that they're just above idle when they're fully back. So if you watch, I'm in reverse right now, obviously. I can't brake because I got no hydraulics, but there my lights come on with the power. If I go right to idle, and they go right back to idle, they'll die out. There, see, their lights went out, and now I got no brakes again. So very frustrating. Makes it a little bit hard to control. Yeah, and then they just went out again. There we go. So we're going to put it there. Let's get this on parking brake before we roll away. Yeah, we'll see if we can adjust that. But we're here, so let's get the dome light on so we can see what we're doing. We'll come over, get them to hook up the ground power. There we go. Come up top now. Turn on ground power. It is up. So the engines will come back to FTR. You can hear them start to cycle down. And we're going to shut them down. So we'll shut down the outer one. Or the left. And the right. And they're going to come down. Alright, so that's done. We're on external power. Seatbelt sign can come off. Why we're losing everything here. We are on external power. Oh, there you go, because I turned it off. That's good. They're off. They're off. Fuel pumps on both sides will come off. Oxygen will come off. That's up over here. And flight directors. That's fine. The cargo, main doors, wheel chocks are in place, and we can begin unloading.
Boarding requested.
Yes, Sess can do it. All right. What lights did I leave on? I left everything on. That can come off. We'll leave that one on. And that can come off. There we go. Thanks everybody for watching. Again, learning this aircraft again, but I'm going to see if I can play with those throttles and get those positions adjusted slightly. Thank you very much for coming along. We will see you tomorrow when we resume our tour of Canada, and we're able to get back into flying a bigger airliner. See you on the next one, everybody. Bye for now.